What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. It's Thursday, February 26th, 2026. Almost the end of the month, the beginning of March. We're at Polderbaan, being used for arrivals. To the north, the sky is clear. Behind me, it is a bit cloudy. It does seem like the cloudiness isn't moving further north. In fact, if anything, I'm inclined to say it's moving a bit further to the south. Which is interesting because the wind is somewhat southerly here on ground level. What it results in is a lot to see. Flight 265 arriving from Warsaw. Polished as always. A very good morning to everybody who's joined. Marja, goedenavond. Good to see you again. Hope all is well. Good morning, Davy. Good morning, Marcus. AMS Spotter. Steven, good morning. Jeff, good morning. Leo, goedemorgen. Alessia, goedemorgen. Ben the Man, goedemorgen. Mark, goedemorgen. So yeah, zooming out, this is what you can see. Looking to the south, you can see there is a clear delineation between where it is cloudy and where the blue skies begin. North of me, things look blue. West of me as well. The firefighters already did their patrol round, but someone is lagging. The firefighters, I don't see them. I think that the triplet is still either underway or have already returned to the fire station. They passed me by a couple of minutes ago as I was still setting up. So yeah, that's what the current status quo is like. We have an interesting show. I thought we were going to see 3 747s, but it turns out that since I left home, another 747 also took off from Paris, Cathay Pacific, bonus Queen. And that's now actually closest by of all the 747s that we are expecting in today's show. Before the next airplane, which is a widebody, is going to land, let me quickly update you guys with what is in store. Open up the screen and you can see it's Cavalcade, as you could already see by looking around. This is what we are expecting. So 3 747s and the A380. The A380 is expected shortly before 1 o'clock. We have a Cargolux on the way, arriving from Nairobi around 11:20. Arriving from the east, will probably land on the center runway. Cathay Pacific Cargo underway from Paris, expected in 20 minutes from now. And two 747s underway from Miami. Cargolux expected 30 minutes after Cathay Pacific, and a couple of minutes later Atlas Air. So yeah, if you don't have to be anywhere, stick around. Plenty more coming. Next airplane to land here is Air Europa flight 1091, arriving from Madrid. A very good morning to everybody who joined in the meantime. Hope you're doing well. Honda, goedemorgen. Marijke, goedemorgen. Mali, goedemorgen. Glenn, goedemorgen. Fern Sebastian, guten Morgen und herzlich willkommen. John, good morning. Brian asks, on which days do the A380s come to Schiphol? All days, all day, every day, twice a day these days. Marianne, goedemorgen. And Marianne is celebrating, she is celebrating 26 months of membership. Marianne, thank you so much for your long-standing support. I hope that everything in the lounge has been and still is to your liking. If that's not the case, do hit me up. Let me know what needs to be improved in your opinion, and let me see what I can do to fix it. Thank you so much and congratulations for your long-standing support. Always a pleasure to have you in our chat, and I hope you will stay in the chat for a long time to come. keep coming back to the chat. I mean, obviously. If not as a member, then at least as a regular frequent visitor. American Airlines is next. American Airlines flight 204, arriving from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 6.5 hours underway, 11-year-old airplane. The first flight of this one was February 2015. Not a lot of wind, nor is there any wind expected in the hours that I intend to stream today, so I left the blimp at home and mounted the ambient microphone onto the camera. Should result in a bit better ambient sound. If it is too low or too loud, let me know. I can always turn it up or lower it a little if need be. Koos, goedemorgen. Jan, goedemorgen. Horeas, goedemorgen. Thijs, goedemorgen. Darek Laguna, goedemorgen. Hey Simi, goedemorgen. Wim, goedemorgen. Wim is tuning in from Spain. Undoubtedly a bit warmer than it is over here, although yesterday it was almost as if spring had arrived. Sun abundant day and nearly 20 degrees Celsius, that's roughly 70 F. Now I had to sit inside behind the laptop most of the day. Luckily did have the opportunity to go out for a bike ride in the evening. Lovely. It was still warm yesterday evening too. It was still clear. Brought out my telescope, or at least one of the telescopes I have. Had a look at the moon with Lisa. Always impressive to see all those craters and whatnot. Changes every day. That's even better. Never a dull moment. Wombat Parade, good morning. Hey Gary, morning. How's life in Noordwijk? Hope it's not too busy at work. Ramon, goedemorgen. Pieter, goedemorgen. Matthew, goedemorgen. And Tessa, good morning. Good day, mate. Celebrating 2 months of membership. Thank you so much for your support. Congratulations. Hope your experience in the lounge has been to your liking. If it isn't or hasn't, or you see things that can be improved, let me know. Always looking to improve things if possible. So if you guys have any suggestions, do hit me up. Dominique, goedemorgen. Kasper, goedemorgen. More membership anniversaries. It's Steven, aka JPN, Just Play Nuts, who is celebrating 15 months of membership. He writes, terrific Thursday to all. Terrific Thursday to you too, buddy. As Simi is also celebrating, she has turned green and has a green badge from now on. Member for 12 months. That means a year of a green badge. Simi, thank you so much for your support. And it is Evan again. Good to see you, mate. Dad of Obi-Wan, Cat, and Krypton Husky. He is celebrating 33 months of membership. I was gonna go to KLX tonight, but Krypton escaped. What? So now you're at home watching AMS instead. Thank you all three, Steven, Simi, and Evan, for all your respective long-standing supports. To all three of you I say, I hope that the experience still is to your liking and has been to your liking. If you have any improvement suggestions, let me know. Hope you guys are going to stick around for a long time to come. If not as a member, then at least as a recurring visitor. So it's a great pleasure to have you all in the chat. I hope that's going to stay like that for a long time to come. Jinshin, aloha, good to see you again, mate. What time of day is it in Hawaii? Should I say good early morning or good late night? Probably the latter, or evening perhaps even. Hope you've had a good day, or going to have a good day. It's always have to do a bit of math to think about what to say to a certain person, depending on where they're watching from the world and what time of day it is. Hey, Yen is also back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Welcome back, buddy. Hope you've been well. Nobody's perfect. Goedemorgen. Cor, goedemorgen. Hey, thank you so much for the kind words. Cor writes, lekker bezig, which means on a roll or something similar. Hard to translate literally. It means you're doing a good job, keep at it. But then in Dutch, Air Arabia, arriving from Tangier. That's in Morocco in the north of. Some of those A320s have a red inside, those hatches, those reverse hatches, for lack of a better term. Some of them have a different color. I think I've also seen them in a yellowish color. I wonder if it's a detail that airlines can customize, that they can say, I want red insides for the reverser hatches. 10:55 p.m. So it's a good evening, and hope you've had a good dinner and a good day then, Jin Jin. Thanks for letting me know. And you're absolutely right, Simi. We should celebrate all the anniversaries. Indeed. Do you and Jan also have an anniversary to celebrate? Hey Clementia, goedemorgen. Good to see you again. All has been well on my end. Hope that's also the case for you. KLM flight 758 arrived from Panama City. Next up will be an A330 from Mascargo, if I'm not mistaken, arriving from Doha. And a good morning to Michael Barath. Hopefully I pronounced your last name properly. Great channel on board to Cape Town. I hope to see the flight, the fight from your angle. Oh, the flight. Well, you're going to Cape Town. Well, over here we are filming the arrivals today. If you give us a heads up when your flight is leaving, assuming you're taking off from Schiphol to Cape Town, maybe we stand a chance of seeing you. It depends on the time. On a day like today, the secondary runway for departures will be Aalsmeerbaan, 18 left. That's the furthest away from where we are positioned. Runway 24, we can see from over here. Relatively good, relatively well, I should say. Hey Jan Willem, goedemorgen. Scottish Journey, good morning. Remco, goedemorgen. And Remco says, ETA Airways on its way in the Olympic Winter Game livery. Is that so? Is that coming to Amsterdam today? Nice. Hopefully it will arrive in time to land on Polderbaan and not during the 40 minutes that we'll have parallel arrivals. On the other hand, we will be able to zoom in pretty extensively from here, but it's not the same as seeing it and hearing it up close. This is Mascargo up first. Flight 6124, arriving from Doha. That's now 7 hours and 58 minutes on the way. It's a trip, an A330-200 freighter. 9 Mike Uniform Bravo is the registration. It's 14 years old. Has a double chin, as cargo A330s almost always have. I should say. My English is really bad lately. I listened back to the last stream and I want to set the record straight. Mixed up some words. I want to make clear that I do know the difference between a masochist and a misogynist. I heard myself misspeak during the last stream. Also hostile and inhospitable. Or hospitable. I kept mixing up things, and that can only mean one thing. I drank too little vodka. Need to improve on that, and I'm going to start right now. Good morning, hermano. Good morning, Razor. Michael, good morning. Ed, goedemorgen. Good to see you all again. You're watching AMS Live, and the sun is actually starting to shine here, which does seem to confirm what I was already thinking I was seeing, namely that the clouds are drifting at least to the east or to the south, because, oh well, no, silly me, the sun also climbs above the horizon, so it might also be that due to the Earth rotating. Yeah, well, I'm still not sure. It looks like the clouds are drifting away from me instead of towards me, while the ground wind if the ground wind that we have from the south is blowing at the level of the clouds, it should be drifting towards me. So not the first time that we see that the clouds are doing something different than what the wind at ground level is doing. KLM Flight 702 having arrived from Buenos Aires. That was a 777-200, 13 hours underway. Good morning, Thibault, guten Morgen, herzlich willkommen. Manuel, goedemorgen. Ah, the crows are also here. Russell and Cheryl Crow have arrived and are saying good morning. Outbound traffic overhead against a blue backdrop, quite easy to see. KLM Embraer flying to the north. So yeah, looking to the west, just a is that a contra remnant or is that just a small isolated cloud? I think the latter. Southwest. South. It does look like the clouds are drifting away, doesn't it? Southeast. East. Northeast. North. Forgot to bring sunscreen, or have I? Did I? Yeah, no, I think I left it at home. It's now in one of the pockets of one of the bags. This is Lufthansa, flight 2302. Starline's livery, as you can see. Carrying cabin in the back. Returning to Amsterdam from Munich. Delta Airlines next after that, flight 136. Hey Dalia, goedemorgen. Good to see you again, hope all is well. Boy, Manuel. Trond, guten Morgen. Good to see you again. And Remco says that ITA, that's the one in the special livery, is already above Germany, so should still be in time for Polder. I hope you're going to be right, Remco. That sounds good. Don't think, have we seen that one before already? I don't think we have. Don't think we have. All right. Was fiddling with my phone, I think, because of lateral scrolling. Maybe my chat window has now, or my live chat on my phone has frozen. Let me see. Last message I see is from W, who says Atlas 747 takeoff 18 left. This is Delta Airlines flight 136 from Detroit, Michigan. Doing a wheelie. Using idle reversers. Hey there, Brian, who is tuning in from Christchurch in New Zealand. Shout out to all the Kiwis and Aussies watching. Always a great bunch of you guys. Veldi, guten Morgen und herzlich willkommen. Yeah, probably, or... Okay, well, no, doesn't look like my chat window has frozen. The chat is just really calm. Or... is there also something frozen on my laptop? No, that also says that W messaged the last. Ah yeah, Peter is also messaging. Goedemorgen, Peter. Yeah, so everything is still in sync and working and updating. Contrails are visible. There is one north of me, west to east. Quite clearly a twin jet of sorts. Relatively far away, hard to see a great bunch of details. Let's see, it's 10:05. It shouldn't be long before the first 747 is arriving, and in fact it should already have passed me by over the North Sea, so I'm looking a bit to my northwest to see if maybe I'm able to see the profile of a white Cathay 747. Not seeing it. We'll see it soon enough though. We'll see it soon enough. A lot of airplanes approaching. Turkish with a Dreamliner as well. And this is Air Dolomiti arriving from Frankfurt. After which we are going to see Delta Airlines Flight 74 arriving from Atlanta, Georgia, and that's an A330 Neo. It's Jenny, Italian Jenny. Good morning, Cedric, who is tuning in from Luxembourg. Goedemorgen, Geraldine. Good morning, Bryn. Good morning, Eric. Hunter Cat, good morning or good evening to you, South Australia. More Aussies and Kiwis tuning in. Always a great bunch. Super Eminent, goedemorgen. Mocha Green, good morning. Gertin, goedemorgen. Eddie, goedemorgen. Another airplane overhead. And of course, Delta landing here. Delta Airlines Flight 74. Atlanta, Georgia is where it is arriving from. 7 hours and 28 minutes it has taken to get here. One a bit louder, using the reversers. Hopefully it wasn't too loud. If anything started to clip, let me know. If it's still too low, let me know. And Eddie is celebrating, not with a message, but he is writing, I turned blue! Congratulations, mate. That means member for 2 months or 2 years already, 24 months. Thank you so much for the long-standing support, Eddie. Congratulations. That is a blue badge for another member. Incredible. Hope everything in the lounge has been to your liking, Eddie. Do let me know if anything can be improved. Two airplanes on the glide slope. And a third one turning in. And good evening to Joey Pitt, who is tuning in from Brisbane. And he is happy that I'm streaming tonight. I'm happy to be here, mate. It's finally decent weather. Hopefully this will be the beginning of spring over here. Looking at the long-term weather forecasts, insofar as they can be predictable and reliable, of course. Looks like the next couple of weeks it's going to stay dry, mostly dry, and also relatively sunny. Good morning, me, myself. And Han, goedemorgen kerel, good to see you again. Hope all was well, Han. Alrighty, have a look at this. Turkish Airlines flight 1951 in the foreground. That's a Dreamliner 7879. And behind it, a bonus queen, one that wasn't airborne when I left the house, but when I looked here, all of a sudden was closest by of the 747s underway. The first of 4 for today, and then also the A380. In the background, at the 7 o'clock of the 747, you can also see another airplane turning in. That's an Embraer 190 from KLM arriving from Prague. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. If you are and you haven't done so already and you want to support the channel, don't forget to leave a like. It will help the channel grow. Quick look at the Turk and then back to the 7-4. 3 hours 5 minutes on the way. That's nominal. Good morning, Clark. Hadi Bart, goedemorgen. Bas, goedemorgen. Adrie, goedemorgen. Marcus, goedemorgen. A lot of names saying hi in the chat. Right as the first 747 of the show is about to land. Perfect timing, guys. A bonus queen. One that took off after I already left the house. Was a surprise for me. Hope it is a pleasant surprise for you as well. Hopefully it will use the reversers. Thus far, only 1 or 2 airplanes that landed here. I think mostly Deltas have used their reversers. It is calm, so there's also a good reason not to use them with the length of the runway and all. It's arriving from Paris, and that means it's just a 44-minute flight. It's the BLJK, Bravo Lima Juliet Kilo. 12-year-old airplane, first flight November 2013. And Bas is celebrating 9 months of membership. 9 months, a few more for a year. Well, thank you so much and congratulations, Bas, for your support as a member thus far. Hope the 9 months have been to your liking. Let me know if anything can be improved in the lounge or if we are running low on certain items. I'll put them on the groceries list. Well, that didn't disappoint. I thought it was going to land with idle reversers and then they spooled up. Better late than never. And indeed, Marcus, the taxi is going to be almost as long as the flight has lasted. For those of you unfamiliar with the layout of Schiphol Airport, the cargo airplanes always are parked around runway 0624, the Kaagbaan, which isn't the furthest runway from where we are positioned, but it is definitely on the other side of the airport. The taxi from this runway to the main platform area usually is around 5 to 10 minutes, and then depending on where airplanes need to be, it can amount to almost 20 minutes of taxi. This runway, the Polderbaan, for those of you who don't know, is the latest addition to the Schiphol area, built in 2003 and relatively distant from the main platform area, which is behind the trees over there. The main tower, and adjacent to that, the main terminal building, you can see in the distance. You can understand that it's already a little hazy. You can understand that it's hard to see things going on over here from there, which is why this is a runway with its dedicated secondary tower. air traffic controllers all have shifts in both towers. So the tower over here is dedicated for traffic to and from the Polderbaan exclusively. After the big, the little, German Airways operating for KLM. Embraer 190. Equilibrium Mind, goedemorgen. Mike W, goedemorgen. And welcome to the show, everybody else. Hey Tina, goedemorgen. BA up next, flight 432, a countdown flight number, A319. That's arriving from London Heathrow.
You know, fish, chips, cup of tea, bad food, worse weather, Mary fucking Poppins, London.
Flight time 45 minutes, that's the nominal flight duration. The Golf Echo Uniform Papa Romeo Gupper. Gupper is 25, first flight September 2000. Next up will be El Al, flight 337 arriving from Tel Aviv, 737. Hey Dennis, goedemorgen. Morning chaps. And welcome to the Netherlands. Good morning James, who's tuning in from South Carolina. Welcome to the show, everybody else. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. If you joined us only minutes ago, you may have missed the first 747 of the show. Cathay Cargo arriving from Paris. There are 3 more underway, as is the Emirates A380. A quick look will show us that there are 2 747s arriving from Miami, which are closest by. Cargo Lux in the vicinity of Norwich, which will be arriving half an hour from now, and a bit behind it, and expected only 10 minutes later, another 747. And entering German airspace, the one that's probably going to get away from us, with the estimated time of arrival being in the middle of 40 minutes, where parallel arrivals will take place expectedly. Since it is arriving from the east, chances are that Cargo Lux 492 will be arriving on the center runway. And a couple of minutes to 1, the Emirates A380, right in time. In the meantime, El Al just now landed, and TUI is going to be next. TUI Dreamliner flight 393 arriving from Willemstad, Curaçao. And another big airplane behind it, that's KLM flight 870. That's a 777 arriving from Delhi in India. At the 7 o'clock of that, we can already see another airplane. Where is Captain Jerry? He is missing all the glide slope shots. The airplane at the 7 o'clock, the number 3. The 7 o'clock of the number 2 is also a 777. It's 2 consecutive 777-300 ERs. Good morning JZ Road. And welcome to the show, everybody else. Erik, goedemorgen. You're watching AMS Live, my name is Boy. 1 747 already landed, 3 more are underway. The A380 is also underway, and it's all going to go down here. Come down here in a controlled landing, preferably before 1 p.m. local time. And indeed, Dennis, if you missed the 747, just rewind. That's always a good suggestion. Hope you guys don't need to pee too regularly. I am standing in the vicinity of yet another one of those little streams. Now, luckily, with the camera, the microphone attached to the camera, as long as I'm not pointing in the direction of this pipe extensively, you probably won't be hearing it that much, contrary to when you have static microphone position. Now, they're still working. Let's regain focus and set the focus back to manual. Can you dig it? Always stuff going on here. Hopefully the fence work will be gone soon. Everything south of the excrement bridge from the Spottersplatz itself, the roundabout, until the pipe bridge that I'm standing just north of is barricaded with fences because of the pipes laying in the grass over there. Captain Jerry also back in the chat. What up, Jerome? Good to see you, mate. Hope you were in time to see the 747 from Cathay a couple of minutes ago. Wimmer Frits, goedemorgen. Captain Value, goedemorgen. Hey, Alan is also back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Just back from Barca. Great to see you again, matey. Matey, it's good to see you as well. Hope you've had a good time in Barcelona. For you, having to go to Greece, having to go to Las Vegas, Barcelona. Hard life you're living, Alan. Thijs, goedemorgen. Jillard, goedemorgen. Hey, and Finnair is arriving with the Santa Claus Finland sticker. I think we've seen that before once, but can never get enough of special liveries, can't you? Can you? Jillard is also celebrating 10 months of membership. Thank you so much for the ongoing support, Jillard. It's always a pleasure to have you in our live chat. I hope you're going to keep coming back for a long time to come. If not as a member, then at least as a regular visitor. Thank you so much for the ongoing support, and I hope that everything in the lounge still has been to your liking. This is KLM Flight 598, arriving for Cape Town in South Africa. 777-300. Ali Jeroen, goedemorgen. Jerome says, I'm trying to figure out how to take public transport from Central Station to the Polderbaan next Thursday. Oh, I think that's going to be a bit of a challenge because there is no bus stop in the immediate vicinity. I know that when Lisa came over and was doing her Netherlands trip and was coming over, she had to take a bus to well, basically over here you have traffic lights on the other side, so where you can see those buildings a bit further up ahead there should be a bus stop. But that's the closest by that you can get with public transportation, to my knowledge, unless you rent a bicycle and come bike riding over here. This is the worst place to get to if you are reliant on public transportation. From here, you have to go and walk all the way to the crossing over there, and then you have to walk over here next. Adjacent on the road that is next to this this gas station, where there is no cycling path, there is no sidewalk, and where cars are allowed to drive relatively fast until you reach a crossing, and then you have to take a left-hand turn to end up here. And that's just the parking lot that is the official Spottersplatz of the Polderbaan. If you are at that location and you'd also want to come over to where I am currently standing, that's another almost 10 minutes of walking. So I don't know how well you are able to walk, but this is an absolute shit location to be to try to reach with public transportation. I think indeed Jeroen is making sense with calling an Uber or Bolt. That is probably a prudent thing to do, at least for that last little bit. Yeah, the Polderbaan is really in the middle of nowhere. It's good, it's easy to reach by car, but if you don't have a car, it is a shit location. Yeah, it is a huge walk, Marja. It is absolutely a huge walk. That's if you're young and healthy and have good condition. Still it's a long walk. Hey Arno, goedemorgen. Delta Airlines Flight 236 arriving from Tampa, Florida. Another A330 Neo, 8 hours and a minute on the way. Reversers. A little bit. Silver lining is that the weather for next week at least, and insofar as you can trust the current forecasts, does seem to be good. It does look like we are going to have 2 weeks of mostly dry, if not even somewhat sunny weather. Bike from Hoofddorp is also a possibility, but I'm not sure. Those rental bikes, I think you need to have a subscription, a Dutch public transportation subscription, or at least a pass. I have never used it, so if anybody can chime in who speaks from experience, by all means, please do so. I will Uber after I have a few beers in Haarlem. That sounds like a plan, Jerome. That sounds like a plan. Yeah, it really is a difficult location to reach if you don't possess a car or a bicycle. Does sound like wind is picking up a little bit. It feels like it. I was under the impression that the wind speeds were going to be under 10 knots all day, or at least all morning. Hopefully the wind rumble doesn't get too loud right now. KM Malta up next, and the first CRJ of the show from SAS next after that. Elwa, goedemorgen. Welcome to the show, everybody else who joined. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. 1747 already landed. 3 more are underway. One of them will probably land on the center runway. You should still have a good visibility on it from here. There's a dichotomy in the air, in the sky, as lately has often been the case. And you can definitely see that the clouds that were here closer by earlier in the show have drifted away. Even though on ground level the wind is coming, I'd say, from over there. It does look like the cloudiness that you can see now at the horizon is moving in a different direction. Wind on the scale of chimney smoke, lest I forget. Currently looking like so. Camera is now more or less in line with wind coming from behind. Fidel Castro is also over here. If only Fidel Castro would have the strength to carry Jerry here from wherever he would get off the train. SAS Flight 1553 arriving from Stockholm, CRJ 900, 1 hour 53 minutes on the way. Irish registered EI FBS frames per second. 8 years old, this one. First flight August 2017. And they've got the hand on the dash. Favorite location to keep your hands at. Now Stephen, thank you so much for your super chat, mate. You didn't have to use a super chat to get your message across, but thank you for doing it. AMS, your streams are always fun and intense. I went to the circus recently where the snow was also intense. LOL. We saw it on the news. The east of the United States once again getting a lot of cold weather. We saw on the news. We saw footage of New York. How is it further south in Atlanta? Incredible that there's also snow in those warmer states as well recently. You guys don't get to see that regularly, do you? See that Lance is also back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Welcome back. Hope all is well. Howdy cars, goedemorgen. Genieten met dit weer, enjoying with this weather. Absolutely, absolutely. I was thinking maybe it was going to get it was going to become a cloudy stream with all the clouds further south, but to my surprise they are drifting further away, so more room for the sun. There's no cloudiness in the immediate vicinity of where the sun is in the sky over here right now, so I don't think that the sun is going to hide behind clouds anytime soon. Absolutely lovely. Yep, that's what we saw on the news as well, Stephen. New York City being snowed in. 30 inches. On our news we saw pictures of a guy who went about in the streets of New York on cross-country skis. But the buses were still driving. Well, hopefully things will get better pretty soon. I for one am definitely looking forward to the more sunny and drier and summery months. Slowly but surely we're getting there. Davey says keep SAS away from the taxiways, they might try to take off. Yep. I'm still very curious how that incident could take place to begin with. That's two sets of eyes that didn't realize that they were on a taxiway instead of a runway. Anyway, we have BA arriving from London City. Embraer 190, BA City Flyer, Tarom next after that. 737-800. I don't think I saw an answer in the live chat when during the last stream I asked about the last time Tarom flew the A380 to Schiphol. Maybe I missed it. That could be, might well be the case. I'm still curious. Does anybody remember or know or is able to easily find when the last flight of Tarom with an A380 to Schiphol was? I remember that they still came here, well, when I was already streaming. We definitely caught a couple of Tarom A318s back in the day. But when was the last time? I don't remember. It sounds like I'm hearing a prop. But I'm not seeing anything. So that must mean it's overhead. I'm not seeing anything producing contrails. That looks like it has propellers. Maybe a military propeller overhead somewhere here in the vicinity. Sounds like I'm hearing something like that. In the meantime, a very good morning to Roxana and to all others who have joined. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy, and the first A350 of the show is approaching. Now number 2, Finnair, and that has the Santa Claus sticker on it. At least that's what Yillard said. So was that a unilaterally positioned sticker, or was that a sticker on both sides? I don't remember. Well, I can see on the flight radar picture it's definitely also on the right hand side, so we are able to see something. Roxana says that Tanom last flew the A380 in 2024. So yeah, either in 2024, maybe even in 2023, the last Tanom A380 was flying into the Netherlands. And on flight radar I can see that the next 747 is a bit to my left, and I am looking. I thought I saw a twinkle just now. I'm wondering. I think on paper I should be able to see the next 747, which is now flying downwind, bit to the northwest of me. If only I know where exactly in the sky it is currently at. It's always a needle in a haystack story, trying to find the airplanes that you are interested in. Yeah, not seeing it. Let's focus on the business at hand. Finnair up next. Flight 1301 arriving from bloody Helsinki in Finland. Santa Claus Finland sticker on it. Flight time 2 hours and 13 minutes. Ballpark nominal. It's usually a 2-hour flight from Helsinki to Amsterdam. Registration is OH Elwa. Elwa not only in the chat, but also here in the video on camera. Airline of Santa Claus. Taking the first exit, it needs to make the runway. It needs to clear the runway before Delta Airlines 56 is arriving from Salt Lake City in Utah, an A330-300. Let's quickly turn back. Have a look at it. There it is. Behind it is a Bombardier C-Series 300, an A220 from Croatia Airlines, arriving from Zagreb, and a Chinese triple also turned in moments ago. 3-airplane glide slope shot. If you look, if you enjoyed shots like this, don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already. Felix is also back, tuning in from Argentina. Good early morning, Felix. Hope all is well. I am Yayadi. Good morning. Tuning in from a very windy England. How windy is it in your neck of the woods? Hey buddy, goedemorgen kerel. Perfect timing, just in time for Queen number 2 in a couple of minutes from now. Was a couple of red bars on a few occasions here in my on the screen of my camera. That indicates clipping. I've turned it down a little. Now, A220 and 777 behind it. After that, an A320 Neo, and next after that will be the next 747. That 747 is turning in. Am I able to see anything visually? Don't think. No, it's almost at Alkmaar. That's that's a bit too far away to see from here, unless it is at cruising altitude and producing a contrail. Indeed, Bumor, that was some good reverse thrust being applied there. Hopefully it didn't sound too poorly, because I did see that there was some clipping taking place. Hey Guido, goedemorgen. H-Man, goedemorgen, good morning. Chris, good morning. Tuning in from Austria. Croatia Airlines. Nice Karen cabin. Time for a 777 freighter. Chinese. Will it use its reversers? Ton, aka Photo for You, always says nobody lands the 777s as softly as the Chinese. So let's have a look and see how buttery this landing is going to be, and also let's listen how loud this landing will be. China Southern Cargo Flight 495, arrival from Shanghai in China. 11 hour and 13 minute lasting flight thus far. The Bravo 20 Echo Mike. That's a 5-year-old specimen of an airplane. First flight was in February 2020. And Buddy is celebrating 9 months of membership. On time for Queen. Yeah, party party. Buddy, thank you so much for your ongoing support. Always a pleasure to have you in our chat, and I hope you will keep coming back for a long time to come. Also a big thanks for the support that you give in other forms, such as with the development of the automation, all the messages and whatnot. Most of it was done by Simi, but Buddy also helped, and there's more work in progress actually. But now that I remember, I also still have to look into. I remember Simi emailed me and she did a reset, and I still need to try to give her permission to access the YouTube data. Anyway, that doesn't detract from the fact that Buddy is celebrating 9 months of membership and is in time for the 747 number 2. And the bird control is celebrating with fireworks. They're also saying thank you, Buddy. I also saw a flock of birds flying away over there. That's what you get when fireworks are becoming illegal here to set off as a private person. The birds are no longer used to it and actually fly away when they hear it. They actually get scared instead of thinking, it's just humans, let's just continue doing what we've been doing. Ton also in the chat, good to see you, mate. Are we going to see a drag race? That's the question. The coots on the far left came out to sea, but it's looking like the bird control is letting this one go. So that's EasyJet having landed. Time for Queen number 2. There it is. Cargo Lux arriving from Miami, Florida. And if you look on Flight Radar to its left, not too far out, you can also see that the next 747 arriving from Miami, Florida is also approaching. I'm already looking to see if maybe I'm able to catch a glimpse of it, but still not lucky in that regard. Queen number 2, there it is, Cargo Lux, 8-6 November, no flight number, just a call sign, 7478, 7 hours and 25 minutes on the way from Miami, Florida to Schiphol Airport. Registered in Luxembourg, Lima X-Ray, Victor Charlie Lima, VCL. And a very good morning to everybody who has joined. John Logan, good morning. Annette, good morning. Welcome to the show, everybody else. This 747 is 11 years old. First flight was in January 2015. Question is, will it get loud? Let's look and listen. Fingers crossed. For also having a front row seat, awaiting loud noises, but they never came. What a shame. Could have been louder, but the landing itself was not too bad, was it? If you think, hey, I enjoy watching 747s, stay here and wait for a few more minutes. Atlas Air arriving from Miami, Florida will also be landing here minutes from now. Another 747 is underway, but that's probably going to land on the wrong runway, the center runway, arriving around 11:20 and arriving from the east. But we are still going to be able to see it from here, if all is well, assuming that the center runway is going to open up in 13 minutes from now for parallel arrivals, which I have no reason to doubt. Vinny Banks says, great show, mate. Watching from Auckland, New Zealand, up the 747. Thanks for the kind words, Vinny. Nice of you to say hi. If you are new to the channel, don't be afraid to say hi. No need to be shy. If you have anything to ask, feel free to do so. Many people are watching. Together they know a lot. They're almost always friendly, and if they're not, then Maria will make sure that they will. No need to say hi, but if you are inclined to do so, don't be afraid to do so. Also, if you're a subscriber, have a look in the community section. If you have any interesting things to post and you've been a subscriber for a week or longer, you are eligible to post over there as well. That barrier is to keep out any people who might be inclined to spam, and thus far it has worked. This is JetBlue, having arrived from Boston, Massachusetts, A321 Neo. And I hear Chris Coots, but where is he? I did see a couple of Coots further north, but this was coming from the south, this sound, and I think I see movement, but is that, yeah, that probably was him then, making that sound. Since I don't see any other aquatic birds south of me. Hey Ryan, goedemorgen. Mees Kees, goedemorgen. Big Flying Ginger, good morning. Martin, good morning, mate. And the shiny ETA is inbound. Is the first? Yeah, the first one is the special livery, the Olympic special livery. I think that's going to be a premiere for the channel. Mervin, good morning. Welcome back, mate. Before the special livery ETA, we are going to see this. This is an A321 Neo from KLM, arriving from Paris, Charles de Gaulle, Paris. Flight 1404, flight time 15 minutes. Fax B, Papa Hotel, Alpha X-Ray Bravo. That airplane is a year old already. First flight September 2024. Time flies, doesn't it? And if you think that Transavia got their first A321 Neos well before KLM did, to me it feels like those A321 Neos are still brand spanking new and only have begun flying recently, but first Transavia A321 Neos probably were delivered in 23, if not, yeah, 23, somewhere in 23 probably, or was it still in 2024? If it was 24, then probably the beginning of the year already. Anyway, ITA Airways up next, flight 108, arriving from Rome. That's an A320, not a Neo or anything, but it is a special one. I think we've never seen this one before. Channel premiere, Olympic Winter Games special livery. Now this airplane has been flying for 2 hours and 8 minutes to get here from Rome. Irish registered, EIDSY, Delta Sierra Yankee. And it's 17 years old, first flight October 2008. The Winter Olympic Games special livery. Well, let's see what that looks like. Nice. Yeah, that's a nice looking livery, I have to say. Not sure if it's a symmetrical livery or if the other side looks different from this side, but FBI, goedemorgen, and welcome to the show, all others who have joined. Parallel arrivals are commencing. Air Oinkoink being the first airplane assigned to the center runway. It's 10:52, so that means that parallel arrivals are beginning a bit early. Outbound airplane having taken off from runway 24 expectedly, and a contrail in the background. It's way further and higher to the northwest. What is it? Hard to see. At least it didn't look like Emirates, nor did it look like EasyJet. This is an EasyJet Neo, and after this we are going to see KLM flight 1002 arriving from London Heathrow, an E2 Embraer, and after that the third 747 and last one landing here. The next 747 will arrive around 11:20, but that's almost certainly going to land on the center runway. For those of you joining us later, welcome to the show. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy, and in the distance you can see the third 747 of the show. Previous two did not use their reversers that much. Will number 3 do better? Atlas Air also arriving from Miami, Florida. The other 747 was 7.5 hours on the way, and this one is 7 hours 23 minutes on the way, so more or less the same flight time. KLM flight 1002 arriving from London Heathrow, 45 minutes on the way. E2 Embraer 195, Papa Hotel, November X-Ray Hotel. 4 years old already. First flight February 2022. And of course it's arriving from London Heathrow.
You know, fish, chips, cup of tea, bad food, worse weather, Mary fucking Poppins, London.
Right, touchdown succeeded, so back to the business at hand. Atlas Air flight 5219, another 747-8, the November 868 Gin Tonic, 10 years old, first flight June 2015. And more wide bodies are approaching immediately after this 747. Hans' favorite, Vueling, and after that Air Canada with a 777 and KLM with an A330. Lelo also back in the chat, good to see you, mate. And thank you for the kind words, appreciating your mastery of the camera and enjoying friendly chat atmosphere. Yeah, the chat is one of the unique selling points of the channel, international and friendly. something that makes me absolutely proud. Not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. Adi Lauwe, goedemorgen and welcome to the show. Efteling Annie. Three 747s have landed, a fourth is underway but arriving from the east and expected in 25 minutes from now. Going to land on the center runway, which we are still going to see from here. Maybe even here if they apply the reversers. Wind is definitely going to blow the reverse noise from the center runway this way, so who knows. Today's Emirates A380 147 is expected in approximately 2 hours from now, shortly before 1. I'm just going to skip the next airplane, wetting the leathers. In the meantime, another ETA is approaching the center runway. No mountains or Olympic rings on this one. No rings on this one either, but there are dots. Welling. Is the one dot still there? The answer is yes. Although with the backlight, it's not as shiny and as clear as otherwise would be the case. You can see the windsock just left of center. Bit of wind. Right, let's quickly turn back. Air Canada Flight 808 will be next, arriving from Toronto in Canada, 777-300. There it is. Disguised as a... oh no, not as a bank robber. Just maple syrup today. No Quebec in the registration of the airplane. It's the Charlie Foxtrot India Victor Sierra. First flight June 2009. Why do I feel that we're being watched? This week's edition asks, may I ask what the temp is? May I introduce you guys to the ticker and the METAR, ladies and gentlemen? Because the temperature and the wind are all in the ticker all the while. So in the ticker you can see a scrolling message. One of them is the current runway use, the other is the weather report or the METAR. Here you have a website that shows the visualization of it, but the text is over here and you can also see that in the ticker. EHAM is Schiphol Airport, the time and date, the 26th and 9:25 Zulu is the time of the report. You can see the wind speed and direction. The wind is blowing 210 degrees, 9 knots. The wind direction is variable between 180, this arrow, and 240, this arrow, that's indicated over here, CAV OK means ceiling and visibility are okay. That's indicated over here. It means that the lower 5,000 feet surrounding the airport are clear of visual impediments in the form of clouds or precipitation. The air temperature is 11 degrees Celsius. The dew point is 9 degrees Celsius. The air pressure is 1,018 hectopascals. No SIG means no significant changes expected in the upcoming 2 hours. And while we have the browser open, we can see that the next 747 arriving from the east is approaching Dutch airspace, now expected around 11:30. That's still too early, unless they close center runway 10 minutes earlier as well. They opened it a bit earlier. And over here, a couple of minutes to 1 expected is the Emirates A380 flight 147. In the meantime, KLM flight 767 having arrived here from Bonaire, A330. Pete Olding also back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Welcome back. Welcome to all others who have joined. You're still watching AMS Live. My name is Boy and we are here at the Polderbaan, runway 18 right. Being used for arrivals. The sun is out and yeah, hardly any clouds in the sky. This morning there was a layer that stretched from the east via the southeast to the south. Yeah, maybe if you look closely at the horizon, there's still something out there, but nothing in the vicinity except a few low clouds that have formed. So even though the weather report says CAV OK, I'm wondering if the next update of the METAR is still going to say CAV OK, because looking around me, there are some low clouds that have now formed. Wind has also picked up a little. Wind is blowing from the southeast, 9 knots. At least that's what the METAR said. We'll have to see what the next update will say. See that Paul is also back in the chat. Good morning, Paul. Welcome back, mate. Hope all is well. If you joined us only just now, you probably missed 3 747s already. The 4th is underway, expected in half an hour from now. If I have to put money on it, I would say it's going to go to the center runway, but they did open up the center runway almost 10 minutes early. If they'll close it 10 minutes early, it might, well, this being Schiphol, I'm still going to say it's going to go to the center runway. Embraer 175 arrived from Southampton, KLM flight 1070. And I see that Sarah is also back in the chat. Good to see you, Sarah. Welcome back. So yeah, 3 747s already landed here on the Polderbaan. The 4th will probably land on the center runway. The A380 is expected a few minutes to 1, and that should mean it's going to land here. Then again, nothing is ever certain here around Schiphol Airport. Most of you will know that by now. All's well on my end as well, Paul. Thank you for asking. It's nice to be out here. Some free cardio, additional cardio, by having to walk a few hundred meters further north than normally would be the case. Although normally I would also be standing relatively close to the excrement bridge, a bit further south. Now we're standing a bit further north, 100 or so meters. That's because of the fence work and that pipe that they have placed in the grass. That supposedly is going to go into the water. I do see that those pipes do enter the canal where the bridge at the roundabout is at. But still, I've seen people trot through this canal. It's not very deep. Those pipes are relatively big, have a big diameter. Surely it's not going to be put on the bottom of the canal, making it even more shallow. Surely if those pipes are going to go into the canal, they're going to dig them into the bottom of the canal. Maria confirming what I already suspected was going to happen. The next 747 being assigned to the center runway. Doesn't come as a surprise. Just a little disappointing, but It was to be expected. Police is also here on the scene. Otherwise, it's been a calm day. A few pedestrians. You can also see a pedestrian walking by. And the police chaps waving. Buitenbewaking Schiphol, BBS. That's the department that is responsible for the safety of the outer parts of the airport terrain. Officer Rudolph and his colleagues are part of that team of the police. Flyboy, goedemorgen. Billy, good morning. I bloody told you, Jeff says. We all knew it, didn't we? We hoped for better, but it didn't come as a surprise at all. Icelandair up next, Max 8737, flight 506. Norwegian flying parallel to it, to the center runway. Zishan, good morning, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, everybody else who has joined in the meantime. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. This is Polderbaan 18 right. Morning rush hour arrivals. 3 747s have already landed. Another one has entered Dutch airspace and will land on the parallel runway, which we are still able to see quite well from here. Most regular visitors will know that. An example of what we can see from here. It's the UNICEF special livery from Norwegian, the 737 going to the center runway. So you can expect to see something similar with the 747. That is landing here in 23 or so minutes. I can hear chirping of birds. I don't see the birds that make the chirping sounds. I do see that Russell is over here. Zeker, dat ben ik. Hey, dankjewel man. There you go. The chap walking past me, asking if I was AMS Live. He knows the videos and enjoys watching them. Right, that's the only other person that I can see over here right now. I'm not sure if there are people standing further south, closer to the roundabout, where the fences are erected. But yeah, it is a Thursday, of course. Most people still having jobs that they need to go to on Thursdays. And part of the Netherlands has school holidays. I think it's the south, right? Or is it the north? One of the areas of the Netherlands still has school vacations this week, if I'm not mistaken. The Netherlands, even though it is a very small country, with respect to school vacations, is almost always divided into 3 areas: the north, the middle and the south. Some vacations they have all together, all at once. But Christmas holidays, I think, and also the summer holidays, those differ. Ah, it's the north. Thanks for the feedback, guys. Didn't know for sure. And indeed, Mervyn, you know nothing, Jon Snow. That also applies to me. Fake it till you make it. That's I have several live mottos. One of them, fake it till you make it. A321 Neo, arriving from Copenhagen, KLM flight 1268, going to the center runway. It's narrow bodies o'clock to both runways right now. Next set of airplanes to the Polderbaan, the 737-800, an E2 Embraer to the center runway, both of them KLM. This airplane is arriving from Birmingham. The one flying parallel to it to the center runway is arriving from Oslo. And then an Embraer pair from KLM, Nuremberg and Stavanger. Right, let's have a look. Any wide bodies coming this way anytime soon? The answer is nope. It's that time of day where we have to be a bit patient. Of course, the 747 is in Dutch airspace already and is approaching the center runway, so hopefully we'll get a chance to see it when it is still a bit further out. I'm going to do my best to see if I can spot it a bit further in advance. Assuming its base leg is not too far to the north, of course, because otherwise it will become very hard to see. The next wide body to be landing here is now on the glide slope to the center runway. That's Air China Cargo, arriving from Chengdu. That's an A330-200 freighter, which will become apparent pretty soon. There's our next airplane on the Polderbaan, KLM flight 1174, arriving from Stavanger. That's an Embraer 175. And then a 737-800 arriving from Dublin from KLM should be somewhere behind it. Is that it? What's... Oh, that's a bird. I thought I saw something twinkling. Thought maybe it was an airplane flying base, but then why would it be arriving from the right, from the east? Only later did things start to click. Hey, MonsterTube is also back in the chat. Good to see you. Lost since '76. Tuning in from Bali. Nice. Good day to you. Hopefully things are nice where you are at. And Marcus says Lufthansa A340 will pass over Schiphol soon, east to west. Ah, thanks for the heads up. I can see it. I can see it approach, and I can also see that another airplane just crossed it. So there's the Lufty A340 coming this way. And the control remnants of that crossing airplane. It's still a bit further out. Should pass a little south of my direct zenith. That's KLM flight 1174. It's getting a bit more cloudy looking to the northwest. But there's the A330-200 Air China Cargo arriving from Chengdu. Slowly but surely coming this way. The 747 in the vicinity of Lelystad. Are there airplanes approaching from the east that are in Dutch airspace already that have already been assigned the Polderbaan again? Or is everything arriving from the east still going to be assigned to the wrong runway? Or at least for us the wrong runway. They did begin with opening up the center runway almost 10 minutes early. So I'm hoping that, assuming it's going to be a stint of 40 minutes with parallel arrivals, not too long after 11:30, they're going to close the runway again. Here's the A340 from Lufty. Now I can zoom into it again a bit. Not ideally positioned from here where I'm currently standing around the camera and the tripod to give it my stablest of following, but there it is, there it was, still going. Nice to do some contrail spotting again as well. What with all the cloudiness of late. It's been a long time since we were able to do that throughout the entirety of the show. Hey Alex, also back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Hey Pate, what up, mate? For those of you joining us just now, welcome to the show. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. A 747 is approaching Schiphol Airport and it's going to land on the center runway in minutes from now. It's the 4th already of the show. The prior 3 have landed on the Polderbaan. Definitely worthwhile rewinding if you missed those. Emirates A380 is also underway and is expected here a couple of minutes before 1. That should mean it's going to land on the Polderbaan, though of course that's only on paper. We'll have to wait until it enters Dutch airspace to see what runway it will be assigned to, but chances are it's going to be the Polderbaan. 9 out of 10 times it should be the Polderbaan, but then again, you never know when that 10th time is and things get mixed up. None for Polder yet. Thanks for looking that up, Maria. And this is KLM Flight 912 arriving from Aberdeen in Scotland. Another Embraer 190 from German Airways. Short range. Flight time 1 hour and 7 minutes. And this, look away. It's so hideous now compared to what it used to be. It's the pre. It used to be chocky. Here you would have the bonbons. And here you would have the chocolate bars. And then here behind the registration, that would be cake. Chocolate cake. All those delightful goodies, those chocolatey goodies, now gone. Such a shame. In the meantime, Pete Olding is celebrating, and he is celebrating 1 year and 10 months of membership. In other words, that is, no, 8 months. That together counts up to 20 months of membership. Great stream as always, he writes. Thanks for the kind words, mate, and thank you so much for your long-lasting support. 20 months, that's 4 more months of a green badge and then a blue badge for you, Pete. Hope everything in the lounge is still to your liking. If it's not the case, let me know. Let me see what I can do to make things better then. Hope you'll still enjoy coming back in our live chat, whether you are going to stay on as a member or not. In the meantime, a warm welcome to everybody else. Patrick, good morning. And David Wolf, also back. Good to see you, mate. All's well on my end. Hope that also goes for you. Iberia A320 Neo up next. Flight 731 arriving from Madrid. 2 hours 13 minutes to flight time. And this is the ECNTO, November Tango Oscar. Only 3 years old. Thank you, Maria, who informs us that the first plane for the Polderbaan just crossed the border. Which one is that? I thought while looking where the A380 was that where the 747 was, I thought I saw that there were a few more wide bodies, or at least one more following from the east, but I'm assuming those have all still been assigned to the center runway. It's Embraer Fest for the time being. There's an Embraer 190 on the other side, arriving from Frankfurt, going to the center runway, passing me by almost. An Embraer 175 is coming to the Polderbaan, arriving from Norwich. Another one of those German Airways Embraer 190s that nowadays all say operating for KLM Cityhopper. And John McKenzie is celebrating 25 bleeping months of membership. 2 years and a month. Where has the time gone? I have absolutely no idea. I'm also sometimes baffled how quickly time flies in on some aspects. Sometimes time goes excruciatingly slow, but more often than not I find that time moves so rapidly these days. Thank you so much, John, for all your support. 2 years and a month. And I hope that everything in the lounge has been and still is to your liking. I know I sound like a broken record, but I honestly mean it. If anything can be improved upon, let me know. Reach out to me and I'll see what I can do to make your experience as a member better. I wish I could say that pretty soon we are going to get a 35th custom emoji, but that's not the case yet. Although John certainly just now helped a great deal to help that goal be reached. What are you doing, mate? Already you are a long-standing supporter of the channel by being a member yourself, and now you have given almost as much memberships as you have been a member in months yourself. 20 bleeping, oh, now 5 as well. So there you go. Every month that John has been a member, he just now went ahead and gifted somebody else a membership for a month. That is stupendously generous, and you really didn't have to do that, John. That is incredible. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. That is extremely generous, and I honestly hope that everybody who just now received a gifted membership from you will at least have the courtesy to say thanks if they know it came from you. If they're watching, feel free to use those custom emojis you now have at your disposal for a month immediately. There's no guidelines on how to use custom emojis for members. Use them whenever you want. Get creative with them. The more creative you get, the more fun it'll be for both you and for us. A warm welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Has 25 new members. And John made, that is really incredible. You didn't have to do it. Thank you so much for your incredible generosity. Not only as a long-standing member yourself, but just now gifting another 25 people a membership. That is insane. That is really insane. In the meantime, good morning to Inimini and to Francois and to Valentine. Long time no see, mate. Hope all is well, Valentine. Danisha Plain Girl, sitting next to you on your right. So I think that must be Danisha then. And a friend, perhaps? Hey! Nice. So we are, and that guy that was walking past, we are the only people who are currently at the Polderbaan on this sunny Thursday. Really calm, but that means we have the place to ourselves. That's also nice. Alrighty. Let's see. This is KLM flight 1030 arriving from Persenchester, and the 747 is approaching the central runway. So let's have a look at it because it is already visible. Fourth and for today's stream, final 747 of the show. Mind you, shortly before 1 o'clock there is still an Emirates A380 which should be landing here. Cargo Lux, flight 492, arriving from Nairobi, which is the capital of Kenya, which is a country in Africa. 8 hours and 42 minutes on the way to get here. Luxembourg registration LX Lima X-ray, and then WCV. That's WCV. That's an 18-year-old 747-400. First flight was in July 2007. And Peter Power Metal, what are you doing, mate? Incredible generosity. Now from Peter, 10 gifted memberships just now. Mate, that is incredible. A warm welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge to those new members. I see that K4 just now passed us by here on the runway. So there's a runway inspection in progress on the Polderbaan right now, and that usually means that the other runway in use is going to close soon. Peter Power Metal, mate, thank you so much for your incredible generosity as well. 10 gifted memberships just now, 10 new members courtesy of you. If you are one of the recipients of Peter's gifted memberships, don't forget to say thank you to him if you get a chance. Have fun with the custom emojis. 34, and you can use them for the entirety of a full month. Let's listen for any reversers that might spool up. I think I hear something, but I'm not sure. The wind is also blowing in my ears. I think I hear it. I do think I hear it. There it is. The only one getting away. It was expected, so no surprises here. One more quad-engined airplane in today's show, and that's going to arrive shortly before 1 o'clock. The Emirates A380 Flight 147, the first of 2 daily flights that these days are coming into Schiphol Airport. Emirates Flight 149, usually arriving around local dinner time in the evening. Maybe it was just a quick check on the runway because the next airplane to the Polderbaan is already approaching. Not that far off, actually. And good morning to Vanderlei Silva, tuning in from Campinas in Brazil. Bom dia. And I see that Jendrosik is also back in the chat. What up, Mr. Sip? Hope you were in time to see the 747 just now. You probably were. There were 3 others. Those 3 did land on Polderbaan, all of them. Particularly the last one was very loud. With the wind having picked up a bit, I am cautiously hopeful that the A380 is also going to get a bit louder than most of the airplanes thus far have been. So it's 11:27, which will be the last airplane to the center runway. When are the parallel arrivals going to stop, and when will Polderbaan once again become the only runway for arrivals? Which one of the airplanes now approaching from... Oh, Aegean. Aegean was the last one. Or the first one to the Polderbaan. Aegean flight 3624. I remember Maria writing that in the chat. And when I read it, I thought, what is she on about? But that was, of course, the answer to my earlier question. What's the first airplane or the last airplane to the center runway, or the first one to the Polderbaan? The first one to the Polderbaan, probably. I love that the people who did the work here, probably asked for by Schiphol, who of course assigned the fortification here of the canal dike, that they also have those ramps for birds at set intervals. In the meantime, K4 scared the living hell out of me by setting off fireworks really close by. Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen. Shots fired. Somebody has a firearm over there. Call the police. Shots fired. One of the first prerequisites if you want to become a live streamer here at Schiphol Airport is that you need to buy a bulletproof vest, because if it's not shots fired on this side of the canal, then behind you periodically hunters in the field with actual guns and actual bullets. Indeed, Maria. You ask, I answer. Hey, and Annette is also celebrating. She is celebrating 5 months of membership. I love watching AMS Live, one of the Brisbaneites. Thank you so much for the kind words, Annette, and thank you for your long-standing support. I hope that everything in your in the lounge has been to your liking thus far. If that's no longer the case, let me know. If anything can be improved upon, let me know. And a shout out to all the Aussies and the Kiwis that are frequently tuning in such big numbers. A big representation from down under in the live chat of AMS Live, almost always. Indigo arriving from Mumbai, going to the center runway. Hope you keep coming back for a long time to come, Annette. If not as a member, then at least as a regular frequent visitor. Dean Stalker also coming in the chat to say good to see some fellow Brisbaneites here. Nice of you to say hi. Don't be afraid to say hi or interact with all the other users in the live chat. people don't bite unless you kindly ask them to. And only then, still, they bite gently. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Many people are watching. Together they know a lot, and we'll happily try to answer any questions that you might have. If you are enjoying the show and you want to help this channel grow, leave a like if you haven't already. It'll greatly help to bring in more people in the future. In the meantime, a warm welcome to our southerly neighbor, Davey. Davey has become our latest Aurora Sky Lounge member. A warm welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, mate. Thank you for your vote of confidence. Welcome to the lounge. Have fun with the 34 custom emojis that you have at your disposal, as long as you stay on as a member. Like I said before, whenever people give memberships, those custom emojis don't come at a budget. You can use them whenever you want, however you want. Spamming isn't allowed, but you are allowed to use custom emojis as much as you want. Get creative with them and make us laugh. Jeff, for one, has gotten really creative lately with the Transavia logo. And it's absolutely hilarious. Get creative. I implore you all. Those custom emojis are there for you guys to have fun with. So make sure that you do. From one Embraer to the next. There are no arrivals, still in progress. And in the meantime, Yillard, mate, what are you doing? Yillard Kraak just now went ahead and he gifted 5 memberships. Mate, you really didn't have to do it. Thank you so much though for doing it. A warm welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, those 5 new members. Don't forget to say thank you to Yillard if you are one of the 5 recipients of a gifted membership from Yillard just now. Have fun with the custom emojis. Make us laugh with them. And if you enjoy the membership, consider renewing your membership or maybe giving it to somebody else who might also enjoy it. Thank you so much, Yillard, and a warm welcome to the 5 new members courtesy of Yillard. Maku Montgomery says, cheers boy, seems AMS costs game over this summer. I'm not sure that I understand what you're on about. Game over this summer? Michael also back in the chat, good to see you mate, welcome back. You missed 1 CRJ and 3 747s landing here, 1 to the center runway. If you only joined us a couple of minutes ago. German Airways flying for KLM, and that livery partly BA. Base Case asks, zou ik je streamingspullen zien waarmee je live bent? Have a look in the community section, many pictures of me in action. The only thing that these days has changed is that I have a sturdier tripod. The rest is mostly still the same. Oh yeah, and a stream deck with which you can make sound effects.
Bruh.
Alrighty. So pretty soon the airplanes are going to come to the Polderbaan exclusively. I think it has already begun, looking at KLM Flight 1216, arriving from Stockholm. If center was still open, I think it would have been going to the center runway. The fact that it is now lining up on Polderbaan glide slope tells me that the Polderbaan has already become the only runway for inbound traffic. Minutes after the 747 has landed, of course, but that's almost always the case. Next quad-engined airplane to land here will be the Emirates A380, and that will be approximately around 1 o'clock, a few minutes to 1. anywhere, stick around. We're going to catch all the traffic until then, and up to and including the A380, of course. Chino Chin is watching in Metro Manila. Welcome to the show, mate. So many viewers from all around the world. I am loving it. A warm welcome to you all. Next up will be KLM flight 1004, which is arriving from London Heathrow and is an A321 Neo. You might be wondering, London? Yes, London.
You know, fish, chips, cup of tea, bad food, worse weather, Mary fucking Poppins, London.
If you look closely in the top left third of your screen, there is another airplane visible. That's a KLM Embraer E2 195 arriving from Stockholm. Air France will be next after that. Bombardier C Series 300 A220 KLM Air France flight 1500 and Aegean next after that. That's an A321 Neo arriving from Athens. So a nice little mix of modern airplane types. KLM flight 1004 here first, an A321 Neo, K4 in the foreground, K4 ground, nice spacious carrying cabin in the back. Next up will be an E2 Embraer 195, and it's probably no longer K looking at the low clouds that are forming here. And you know what those are, right? Those are the beginning of cloud streets. The linear cloud formation in the direction of the wind, parallel to one another. You can already see it's forming. E2 Embraer 195, KLM arriving from Stockholm, 1 hour 46 minutes on the way, the Papa Hotel November X-Ray Kilo, NXK. That's a 3-year-old airplane. Its first flight was in March 2022, Air France A220 next after that, arriving from Paris. Wind is picking up. Hope that the wind rumble on the mic is not too severe. TAF said it was going to stay below 10 knots of wind all throughout the upcoming hours. Only in the afternoon would it pick up and become more. Which is why I thought I'd leave the blimp at home for better ambient audio. Of course, if the wind gets too severe with the dead cat, you will start hearing the wind rumble. I always find it very overwhelming. Right, A321 Neo, E2 Embraer 195, and now time for an A220 or a Bombardier C Series 300 Air France flight 1500 arriving from Paris. Behind it is another A321 Neo Aegean arriving from Athens. Air France flight 1500. 47 minutes on the way, A220 300, the Fahazuo, Foxtrot Hotel Zulu Uniform Oscar. 3-year-old airplane, its first flight in January 2023. ODC Scream asks if I went to the aviation fair. I haven't been, no. Have you been there? If so, how was it? With the wind picking up, the airplanes are crabbing a little more than in the beginning of the show. I think. At least that's what it looks like to me. if you hear those whale sounds, it's either coming from one of these airplanes or one of those E2 Embraers. Those here, at least at Schiphol Airport, are the only two airplane types with geared turbofan engines, and it seems to be a trade from of those types of engines, at least of the family that these airplanes engines belong to. They're not the same, but they are related. In the meantime, John Logan, mate, what are you doing? Stupendous generosity from a lot of viewers today, a lot of members who are gifting memberships, and John Logan is the latest in that list. 10 gifted memberships. Mate, to what do I owe the honor, and to what do the recipients owe the honor? Thank you so much for your generosity, and a warm welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, those 10 new members. Don't forget to say thank you if you are one of the recipients of John Logan's gifted memberships just now. You'll have access to our 34 custom emojis for a month, and have fun with those custom emojis. All of you, new members, old members, doesn't matter. You guys, I think, are very frugal with using custom emojis. You can use them a lot more, in my humble opinion, but of course it's up to you guys. See if you want to use them or not, but feel free to do so. Have fun. And if you are one of the recipients of the gifted memberships of John just now, don't forget to say thank you to him and enjoy. Aegean having arrived from Athens, A321 Neo. No Karen cabin. That's interesting because the A321 Neos from KLM do have a Karen cabin, so Aegean choosing to force Karen to sit in the cabin with the rest of the plebs, whereas when she would fly with KLM, she would have her private suite. Full bingo card for Jeff. Cloud Streets bingo. Hey, nice 20 models. That's a good grocery haul for ODC Scream at the fair. Marco Montgomery asks if it is cold this morning. It sounds really windy. Well, the wind is it's a bit more windy than I had thought it would be. If the wind is expected to be double digits, I usually put my ambient microphone in a blimp, which mitigates most, if not all, of the wind rumble. Now I have it on with a dead cat on only a small furry contraption that is suitable for moderate winds and little to no wind. The benefit is with the microphone on the camera, you can hear the airplane sounds a bit better than if it is in a static blimp that is just pointed forward. The downside is that if it does turn out to be more windy than anticipated, you'll hear the wind rumble a bit more. It's not extremely windy. I've been here when it was more windy, but when using the blimp, it sounded like it was calmer. So it's really something that the dead cat is amplifying. The wind is visible in the ticker, in the METAR. That should appear again in a moment from now. And I can also take you through it. The METAR is the weather report. In the ticker, it gets updated automatically twice an hour. So you always see the latest report. This one is from 9:25 Zulu time. Wind speed 9 knots. Wind direction 210. It seems like it hasn't updated. Or has it? I think this METAR we saw not too long ago as well. So the wind speed 9 knots, 210 degrees. And the temperature is 11 degrees. Let's have a look on the METAR website in a moment. Could have sworn that it should be a report from 10:25 by now. In the meantime, I see that Paul is also back in the chat. Paul Don 777, one of the longest standing members, and he is celebrating 33 months of membership. Mate, thank you so much for your long standing support. Welcome back. No accompanying text along with the highlighted message, but that's okay. It's always a pleasure to have you in our chat. Hope all is well on your end. I hope that those 33 months of membership have been to your liking. If that's not the case, make sure that you end the membership and don't keep it running. I am assuming it has been to your liking, but if anything can be improved upon, let me know. Hope you'll stick around for many more months to come, Paul. If not as a member, then at least as a regular frequent visitor. Let's have a look and see what the website of the METAR says when we renew the page. Is it a report from 9:25 still? 10:25. So does that mean we have an issue with the... Let's see, is maybe a renewal of the... page? Huh. Alright, for some reason it looks like the METAR in the ticker isn't updating. That means that the source that we are fetching the METAR from is not working. Well, it's a bit of a hassle to change that. We do have two sources of information. First time I'm seeing this. Not the biggest of problems, because on days like today the weather is relatively constant and isn't changing that significantly over time. Right, well, interesting. Let me see if I can do a quick fix. I try to reload the page that the widget is from, but what I can also do is disable, or at least switch off and switch on again the ticker, but that's not making a difference, does it? No. Thought not. Interesting. Well, first time I'm seeing that the widget isn't updating the weather report. Not a big problem, but just something that I happen to notice. Right, it is 11:48 and Ryanair is now number 2 on the glide slope. Those 737s, even though they are a dime in a dozen, often make loud landings because Ryanair pilots for some reason often use their reversers, even in circumstances where it doesn't seem that apparent to do it. Means we might get a loud landing next after this Embraer 175 will have landed. KLM flight 964 arriving from Teesside or Darlington. That's an Embraer 175. Flight time 52 minutes. The airplane 9 years old. First flight February 2017. Come to think of it, enabling the widget's secondary source for the METAR isn't that big of a hassle. It's just that I never did it before while live, but I have it set, so what I only have to do, if I'm not mistaken, is turn this off and then turn this one on. And if all is well, and that's not the case, it seems that the Stream Elements widget hasn't updated. Interesting. So switching, oh wait, no, press save to apply. Let's see, 1025 Zulu, yep, that's the backup METAR, the backup source. I forgot to press save, and then of course the visibility change did not get effectuated, but now it has, so we do have an updated METAR again. Second source is updating, the one I always have open didn't, for whatever reason, that's okay. And Ryanair, not using the reversers. idle reverse landing. Adi RDB, goedemorgen. Good morning. And welcome to the show, everybody else who has joined in the meantime. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. We're here at Polderbaan, 18 right, where 3747s already have landed. And the Emirates A380 will in an hour and 5 minutes or so from now. Looking to the south, you can see that the sun is not there yet, but approaching, getting higher by the day. On December 21st and 22nd, it didn't get above 15 degrees. Now you can already see it's a bit higher than that. I think 30 or so degrees, or approaching that. Looking to the far west at the horizon, there looks to be cloudiness, low clouds forming. They weren't there before at the beginning of the show. Looking to the east, we can see the same blue sky and one line of low clouds, the first cloud street of the day. And Fidel Castro also over there hunting for Pinky and the Brain. Next up, KLM flight 984 arriving from London City, an Embraer 190. There it is. And Buddy says, strangely enough, it seems that the original METAR website is online and working. But there you go. I have no idea what happened. I can have a look and see what... I'm thinking maybe I forgot to save something. I didn't change anything, so the only thing I did was change the visibility because I have the layout duplicated and just the ticker changed. Let me have another look at the other ticker. What does it say? I have to wait until it until the METAR once again shows. I'm thinking maybe I forgot to save something and it stopped syncing. Not sure. Let's have another look. So the source I began the stream with waiting, there it is. It says, yeah, it says 925, so there's definitely a failure of the source, the METAR source, the first METAR source, and stream elements. The old source still says 925, but the other one that I've now enabled is current, so either way, no problem. In the ticker it shows the latest weather report. A flock of birds has just settled over here, and in the background a house with a lot of solar panels. So that's 4, 6, 8, 10, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 20? Wow, that's a lot of solar panels. Alright, the next airplane is flying base. Hey, I'm hearing props. I'm not seeing anything. I was hearing prop. Oh wait, no, I was hearing it correctly after all. I was looking on flight radar and I thought I didn't see anything, but there it is, the Dash 8-100 from the Coast Guard, flying to the west, having taken off from the Schiphol Oostbaan, runway 22. Outbound for another coastal patrol. Yeah, the backup is working, and we'll switch it back again later in the weekend or so and see if it will work or not. or I'll have a look in Stream Elements before switching anything. At least we were smart enough to have a backup. I say we, I mean you guys. Redundancy is always good. Can you have too much redundancy? I'm not sure if that's possible. Can you have too much vodka? Allegedly, but I haven't gotten enough yet, so time for me to fill up a small glass. Have another sip. So the next airplane has turned final. An Embraer 190 arriving from Leeds, KLM flight 1020, and the next airplane behind it is a 777-200ER KLM flight 706, returning from Rio de Janeiro. Lovely special livery from ITA earlier in the morning. The Olympic special livery. On an A320, I figured they would probably update a Neo with a longer lifespan, or economic lifespan, or expected lifespan, versus a relatively older A320. But it was gorgeous to see. If you missed it, definitely worthwhile looking back. I'm not sure if it is special enough to make a separate video out of it. Was lovely to see. Now, where's that Embraer 190? The answer is there. There it is. Behind it should be a 777 turning in. Should be entering the field of view from the left. Zooming out a bit more. It's always hard to estimate where you can expect the airplane to appear based on what you see on flight radar. Roughly equal height. Lovely to see. You can definitely see that the airplane in the foreground is crabbing, and the triple is too. Martin Air also back in the chat, and MonsterTube as well. En Martin Air is celebrating 27 months of membership. 27 maanden vieren op Curaçao en AMS Live. That is terrific, mate. Are you in Curaçao already? Enjoy, mate. Thank you so much for the ongoing and long-standing support, Martin. It's always nice to have you in our chat, and I hope you will keep coming back for a long time to come. If not as a member, then at least as a regular visitor. Dankjewel. Thank you so much for your support, mate. And if you are in Curaçao already, enjoy. Early morning, then. Come to think of it. What's the time difference? 7 hours? 6? 6, 7 or 8? 6 or 7 probably. Still. Way earlier over there than it is over here. And another person from Curaçao checking in. It's Derper 1973, aka Peter. Howdy Peter, goedemorgen. I hope all is well in Curaçao. It's probably sunny, it's probably warm, it's probably a bit windy. If you describe it like that, it doesn't sound too dissimilar to what it is over here. Sunny, windy, relatively warm. An Embraer with an eye patch. Looking up and around me in the sky with respect to overhead traffic, it seems relatively calm, but there is a twin jet flying west-east just north of me. That looks like a Dreamliner, But what's the carrier? Hard for me to see from this angle. Looks all white. Then again, a few moments ago it was looking like the engines were reddish. Question for me, an answer for you, probably without filter. It's easy to see on flight radar, undoubtedly. This is KLM Flight 706, arriving from Rio de Janeiro, and that is in Latin America. That's a continent where you can also find a country that is called Ecuador! Ah! Only 5 hours of time difference. That's less than I thought it was going to be. Interesting. It does look like something from Germany is coming this way, or at least most likely Germany, looking in the direction where airplanes from Frankfurt and sometimes Munich are coming this way to go to the United States or Canada or somewhere else in the Americas. There is a contrail, a vertical line looking the way we are positioned, coming this way. Looks like a twin jet. No, wait, it's a quad. It's a quad. The quad is coming. What it is, I don't know. You guys can probably look that up. Thought I was hearing something overhead here in the vicinity as well, but oh yeah. Not all overhead traffic is producing thick contrails like the quad that I was showing you just now. Now where and because it isn't producing a clear contrail, it's a bit like needle haystack. Lufthansa twin jet. Ah, there you go. A little bit of, oh, that's zooming in. I wanted to zoom out. Yeah, it's hardly producing a contrail, and that makes it hard to see. I'm also hearing a siren, and I think I see the ambulance that is producing it. No, that's the truck. Left of it, there it is. Meep meep. Meow. Meanwhile, this quad is a Lufty A340 to Chicago. Thank you guys for looking that up. Getting ever closer. And with the next airplane here being a KLM Embraer, we can skip that and stay at the A340 for a bit longer. Big, thick contrail. And looking to pass just a little south of me. And that's the camera the tripod reaching the maximum height. Now, as it starts to get closer to the center again, we can start zooming in again. And now with the sun behind us, it should provide a bit more contrast and more detail than when it was approaching. Wind is definitely a bit harder than it was earlier in the show, making it sometimes challenging to film without vibrating too much. Sardi is also back in the chat, as is Stefan Tudor, and both of them are celebrating membership anniversaries. Sardi is celebrating 5 months of membership and is greeting fellow Aussies, good day legends, John, Annette, and Maria, boy and mods. And Stefan writes, wow, 7 months, 2 to go, I can say it's a boy. Yeah, almost a full human gestation period. Thank you both so much for both your support, Sardi and Stefan, 5 and 7 months respectively. I hope those months as a member have been to your liking. If that's not the case, or if you guys have any suggestions for improvements, let me know and let me see what I can do to make things better. Hope you guys will keep coming back in the chat, as it's always a pleasure to have you guys in our chat. If not as a member, then at least as a regular frequent visitor. Congratulations guys, and thank you both so much for your support. Right, it's 12:07 and the next widebody is now number 3 on the glide slope. That's 777-300 arriving from Sao Paulo. Before it, an Embraer 190 and a Transavia A321 Neo. KLM with the Embraer arrived from Hamburg. There it is. KLM flight 1754, 44 minutes on the way from the north of Germany, Hamburg. The airplane is 16 years old. Its first flight's January 2010. Starting to sound a little stuffy, and I think I'm going to invite the Schiphol elephant back into the room just for a brief moment. Now, there are definitely aquatic birds further to the north of me. Let me show you in a moment. And we're back. In the meantime, a massive big thank you to Stefan Tudor, who just now went ahead and gifted 5 memberships. Mate, you really did not have to do that, but thank you so much. A warm welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge. There's 5 new members. If you are one of the recipients of Stefan Tudor's gifted memberships, don't forget to say thank you to him and enjoy. 34 custom emojis at your disposal for the entirety of a month. Have fun with them, get creative with them, use them. If you enjoy the membership, maybe consider gifting it to somebody else or renewing it once it expires. A big thanks to Stefan Tudor for gifting 5 memberships, and a warm welcome to the 5 new members. Transavia with extra bold font. That means this is one of the latest airplanes in the updated livery. It's a bit subtle, just like the KLM update was, but if you know where you can see the differences, you'll see them right away. W says that Beluga Chester to Bremen is approaching the coastline at the height of Alkmaar. Thanks for the heads up. I think I see it. I see something chubby with a contrail further north. And we know from experience that the Beluga is quite easily discernible. I think I'm looking too high, aren't I? Now, where exactly did I see it? This must be it. Thanks for the heads up, W. There it is, the Beluga. is really creating a bit more vibrations than I would have liked to see. Maybe if I increase the drag on both my axes, then again, might be too much drag for me to follow smoothly, but let's give it a go. Set this to 3, set this to 3, left, right, up, down. More drag on the tripod. Alright, 777-300 airtime, KLM flight 792, arriving from Sao Paulo. Flight time 10 hours and 47 minutes. Now, in the meantime, a lot of stuff going on in the live chat. First of all, John Logan just now super chatting. Shout out to Ed Sardi, the legend from Queensland. Mate, thank you so much for the super chat, but you really didn't have to use a super chat to get your message across. Shout out to all the Aussies and the Kiwis representing down under in the live chat. So many of you who found the channel and are tuning in on a regular basis. Always nice. Spread the word. More Aussies and Kiwis should find the channel. More other people from other places as well, of course. And the way to do that, if you haven't done so already, is to leave a like. It will help to bring in new people in the future and help the channel grow. Shout out to Sardi and to John and all the other Aussies and to the Kiwis who are watching. In the meantime, Durper1973, aka Peter, is celebrating 6 months of membership, and he writes in Dutch: Top, ga lekker door, ik blijf erbij, which means top. Keep going the way you have been, and I am going to stick around. Thank you so much for the support, Peter. It's always a pleasure to have you in our chat, and I'm glad to hear you will stick around for a long time to come. If you have any suggestions, or if we're running low on certain supplies in the lounge, let me know and I'll put them on the groceries list, or look into the suggestions to make your user experience as a member better. Also a massive big thank you to Sardi and to Marcus, who both just now went ahead and gifted 5 memberships each. That's 10 new members courtesy of Sardi and Marcus. Guys, thank you so much. That was stupendously generous of you guys, and you really didn't have to do that. I thank you so much for doing it anyway, and I welcome the 10 new members who just received a gifted membership from you too. And one welcome, new members. Don't forget to say thank you to whoever gifted you the membership. Have fun with the custom emojis, 10 of them. No, not 10, 34, a bit more. At your disposal for the entirety of a month. Big thanks once again to Sardi and to Marcus, and congratulations to Peter. Incredible. Artem says 2 times Lufthansa A340 from west to east on the south. Yeah, I do see one. That too isn't producing a very thick contrail. That's the one closest by. Let me see to what extent. Can I still show you? Where is it? Higher still or lower? Lower probably already. Oh, there it is. Yeah, found it. Right, drag setting 3 of 7. Yeah, that does make things ever more stable. That's why I bought this tripod, and tripod had to begin with. More drag. That is good. Drag is good if you want to film stable footage. If you want to create stable footage, that's the way to do it. Now, The next wide body is still a bit further out. It's narrow bodies for the time being, with a cargo A321 being the first next airplane to the Polderbaan. I don't see it just yet. MNB Flight 149 Green MNG Airlines, I should say, arriving from Istanbul, 3 hours and 9 minutes underway. Now visible just top of center. There it is. And another airplane behind it, also already visible. That's a jet. That's a jet with an A321 Neo. Also arriving from Istanbul. Let's see, the flight time of the airplane in the foreground is 3 hours and 9 minutes. The airplane behind it, 3 hours and 15. So the Neo having taken 10 minutes longer. Still on a 3-hour flight on average. That's all still ballpark nominal flight duration. 3 hours, 15 minutes. In the meantime, Arjan van Vught also entered the chat with a bang just now. He also started gifting memberships, and no less than 10. That is incredibly generous. I cannot say thank you enough to all you guys who are so generous to give so many memberships today. A well, welcome to the Aurora Skylines, those 10 new members. And if you are one of the recipients of Arjan's gifted memberships, don't forget to say thank you to him and enjoy the custom emojis. Consider renewing your membership once it expires if you receive a gifted membership, if you enjoyed it, or consider giving it to somebody else maybe. Also, if you want to help this channel grow, don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already. A like and a share go a long way to get a wider audience in. More Aussies, more Kiwis, more Americans, and more people from all over the world. Because that is what we have over here. An audience that is from around the world, around the world, around the world, around the world. Meanwhile, once again, a big thank you to Arjan for no less than 10 gifted memberships, and a warm welcome to all those 10 new members. And the shouting out amongst the Aussies continues with Sardi now super chatting. The Logans are Aussie legends, John and Annette. Absolutely they are, but all of you are legends, all of you Aussies and Kiwis. Everybody from down under is a legend in my book. And Sardi, thank you for the super chat. You really didn't have to use the super chat to get that message across. I always enjoy how you guys are shouting out to one another. Better shouting out than shouting. MNG A321 arriving from Istanbul. You can see that this airplane used to be a passenger airplane. You can see the windows. Of course, being so far up north, we are now not seeing on-axis but off-axis butt shots. But there you go, a butt shot. Robert Johnson says, boy, no big suggestions. I like your casual and breezy commentary. Thank you so much, Robert. But if you do have any suggestions, by all means, let me know. Always up for improvements. I am somewhat of a perfectionist. Thank you, John, who says you are the legend boy for streaming from one of the best airports. May, thank you for your kind words. What I am sorry about is that even though it is one of the best airfields, the locations that lately we've been limited to are not, well, they are good, but there are better. I am still highly annoyed about what happened the other day, and that reminds me that I still have to get back to somebody from Schiphol that I reached out to ask for clarification. There's authority people sending me away while I was filming at 18 left, next to the cycling path where I have been streaming so regularly before and never got sent away from. In addition to the P3 parking lot, which of course is by far, in my humble opinion, the best place to be streaming from, just simply because of all the action constantly taking place over there. But there you go. Polderbaan is a good location, particularly if you have crosswinds, and of course the Kaagbaan also is a lovely spot, but the Kaagbaan is more catered to film the arrivals than the departures. The airplanes are already pretty high up in the sky where you can stand and film, but you do have lovely backlight, or proper light I should say, not backlight but proper light for filming the arrivals in the morning. Alright, let's see, we have a 737-900 from KLM up next, arriving from Rome, flight 1602. Next after that is going to be KLM flight 1088, that's an Embraer 190 arriving from Cardiff. And next after that, a 737 arriving from Milan. And next after that, an E2 Embraer arriving from Bergen. Next after that, an Embraer 190 from Düsseldorf and another Embraer 190 from London City. In other words, it's narrow bodies galore for the time being. If that's your cup of tea, sit back and relax because plenty more is coming. If you're waiting for wide bodies just like I am, then patience is a virtue. We're still waiting for the A380, which is expected, if all is well, shortly before 1 o'clock. So 40 or so minutes, 35 before it's going to be here. Annette wonders if I still see the grebes. Good question, Annette. I think the only aquatic birds thus far that I have seen over here, and I'm going to switch back to a bit less drag because it is a bit much. The only aquatic birds that for now I can see from where I am positioned are those coots over there. I haven't seen any ducks, I haven't seen any grebes, although I have seen grebes here before, and I'm pretty sure that they are probably still around. When I walked back to my car from streaming last week and was walking past the fence work, I could see grebes in the grass on the other side of the canal, on the far side, on the Schiphol side, the air side. So they're definitely here, but it depends on where you're positioned, whether or not you're able to see them, because I don't think that they constantly swim back and forth up and down this stream in its entirety. They probably have parts where they usually hang around. Particularly the coots we've seen and know that they can be quite territorial, and I'm not surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if other aquatic birds are territorial to some degree as well. But yeah, the coots you do sometimes see over here. The grebes I haven't seen, but like I said, over there in the grass on the other side, I did see them last week when I was walking back from filming over here. Right now it's looking like there are moles active over there. At least that's what it looks like to me with my layman eyes. So signs of moles, yes. That's Chris Coot. No grebes in the immediate vicinity. Quite a few people that have gathered at the bridge, where of course there's no fence work and you have an unobstructed view of the runway without having to walk up a kilometer up the runway, up the cycling path. KLM flight 1614 over here, Karen cabin. Or am I going to go to the third drag position? I think, yeah, it is definitely for the panning it is more smooth, but that does mean you need to pull harder to get the camera moving. Hopefully the rubber bands will hold. Honda has to go. See you later, mate. Werk ze. And we'll see you again tomorrow if all's well. I But they did predict a few droplets for tomorrow and maybe even also for Saturday. But the question is, to what extent is it going to rain? Where is it going to rain? How long is it going to rain? The overwhelming majority of the days it should stay dry, so it will have to be very unlucky for us if the rain tomorrow, if there is going to be rain tomorrow, is going to be falling right at the moment that normally I would go streaming. We'll see. For now I am very optimistic and am expecting that we can do 4 consecutive days of streaming. Yin also back in the chat again. Sardi says, your streams are awesome, boy, great community, love your soundboard and the visuals are outstanding. Well, I do my best, Sardi, thank you so much for the kind words. I do my best. Do my best to give you the best quality footage that I can. Hopefully the best audio, although today, maybe in hindsight, I would have been better off taking the blimp with me instead of the dead cat. Yeah, and the sound effects are still there. Not as many as before, but I'll have to come up with a few new ones. So apparently, few triggered copyright notifications. You can fix that easily. You can just cut out the little sound effect. The only downside of having to intervene in live streams that have already taken place is that because of a cut in the stream, the timestamps of the video and the live chat are no longer in sync, and that results in YouTube being unable to show you the live chat replay. So preferably I try to refrain from having to cut in prior live streams because of copyright strikes, or well, not strikes, copyright infringements, which I have to do something about. What I should look into is maybe if it is possible to mute the period that the sound effect takes place. Even if it is a crude way to mute, if it's only a crude way and you can only mute the entirety of the sound, but maybe it's better to have a few seconds of silence for the duration of a sound effect. If that's possible, I'll have to remember to look into that if it ever comes to that again, which I hope it won't, but... Hey, Karsten is also back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Karsten also back in the chat. If you joined us only just now, Karsten, you have missed all the 747s of today's show already. There were 3 that landed on the Polderbaan and 1 that landed on the center runway. We're now waiting for the Emirates A380, which should be landing here on the Polderbaan a few minutes to 1. Also, special liveries, or well, at least ITA had a special livery, the Olympic special livery A320. And there was a sticker of Santa Claus on the Finnair A350. The Finnair A350 still having been the only A350 of today's show. Looking forward to the day that Delta is also going to send over a few A350s instead of just A330s. Probably as traffic volume picks up during the summer months, that's going to happen. At least that's what Wolfgang is speculating, and I hope he's right. He's going to be right. Peter has to go. Thank you so much for joining, Peter. Hope you had fun. Don't forget to leave a like on your way out if you haven't done so already. Hopefully see you again tomorrow. Or if not tomorrow, then at least during the weekend. George is also back in the chat. Good to see you, George. Welcome back. And welcome to the show, everybody else who may have joined in the meantime. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy and we are here at the Polderbaan. 18 right. Fidel Kestrel is hovering over there. Or is that Raoul? I'm not sure. Hard to keep those two apart. They do look alike. Tapper Vertical is also approaching. and overhead outbound traffic as well. Looking to my west, the low clouds are definitely more numerous than land inward. And that's interesting because usually in the summer months that's the opposite. It's usually the opposite. And this is Aer Lingus Shamrock. If you find that today you have an unexplained urge to pee more regularly than normal, it might be because of our proximity to this little contraption, this pipe, which is trickling water all throughout the time we've been here. Now, had I used the blimp and had my ambient microphone been stationary and pointed forward, like so, you probably would have heard that in the background all the time. But since we have the microphone attached to the camera, it's probably not going to be that intruding. Soon there will be a lot to see, but before that we are going to see this E2 Embraer 195 from KLM landing, arriving from Basel, flight 1944. Flight time 1 hour and 6 minutes. It's Papa Hotel, November X-ray X-ray, NXX. And that's, according to Flight Radar, a brand new airplane. First flight September 2025, and I am wondering, isn't the NXX one of those airplanes that recently had to come back to Schiphol? Didn't we film this making a precautionary landing on the Polderbaan in one of the previous streams? That registration somehow seems to ring a bell, but maybe I'm just mistaken. Maybe it is the Korsakov. Speaking of that, time for me to indulge in another small glass of vodka. Next up, a lot to see. We already saw a lot this morning in the beginning of the show, but here, once again, flight 263 arriving from Warsaw, and that's an Embraer 175 with a Transavia A321 Neo behind it, arriving from Rabat, which is in Morocco, in the north of Africa. I have to say, I like that the moderators have upgraded from a spanner to a shield. It suits you guys well. It has to be said. A bit lighter than the blue of the badge, but it does suit you guys good. Well. English has been failing, and that is because I haven't drank enough vodka. It's the Splip. The Splip has arrived. Howdy Striker, morning to you too. And welcome to the show, everybody else who may have joined. For those of you joining us later, you may have missed the 747s of the show already. There have been 3 that landed here on the Polderbaan and 1 that landed on the center runway. We also saw a Beluga passing overhead to Bremen in the north. And another fat bastard is underway. Emirates flight 147. Has it arrived in Dutch airspace already? If all is well, it should arrive here shortly before 1 o'clock, and if all is well, that should mean it's going to be assigned to the Polderbaan. I say should because here nothing is ever certain. Schiphol, infamous for sudden changes, last minute changes, unexpected runway use. Transavia flight 5718 arriving from Rabat, and that is in Morocco. Flight time 3 hours and a minute. Hey, Maria says that the A380 has been assigned to center. That's weird. Or maybe it is consistent with the ATC starting their parallel arrivals earlier than the normal time. The 11 o'clock stint also began 10:52 already. 10:50. But that means that the Emirates A380 is going to land on the wrong runway. Still, well, I will be able to see it from here. Striker says wind is blowing. Wow, how hard is the wind blowing right now? The METAR is coming, and what does it say? 14 knots. and the TAF was indicating 8 knots. Now 14 knots is a bit breezy. Had I used the blimp, you probably wouldn't have heard it even. But because they said this morning that it was going to be 8 or so knots, I figured let's take out the blimp so that you can hear the ambient audio a bit better. Unfortunately, that did not come to be. TAP Portugal, flight 668, arriving from Lisbon, not flown. Oh, hey! I must have forgotten to set the camera back to to manual focus. Now why? Come on. And the reason I almost always use manual focus is because of this. Cameras are randomly shifting their focus, and that can give very arty-farty effects, but also unwanted effects, and usually at moments where you don't want them to happen. I was about to say that the TAP Air Portugal flights are being flown by tap dancers and not by pilots. Either way, that was a TAP Air Portugal A321 Neo. Voiling up next, arriving from Barcelona, it's an A320, Hans' favorite, flight 8309. That's underway now for an hour and 56 minutes. That's nominal. 10-year-old airplane. Its first flight was in March 2015. Sardi says your English expression is excellent. You'd be a local here in Oz. It's funny. I sometimes see people that comment below my videos, usually from the Netherlands, that say that my English is very poor and that I should speak Dutch. It's probably because of their lack of understanding of the English language that they want me to speak in Dutch. It's funny because the native English speakers usually say, "Oh, your English is good." What they probably mean is that you can clearly hear that I am not a native speaker but from the Netherlands, but having an accent is something else than your knowledge of vocabulary and grammar. Once again, in regards to what I said during the previous stream, I want to stress that I do know the difference between a masochist and a misogynist. On replay I heard I mixed up those two words. I do that in Dutch as well, sometimes mixing up words. Not sure why that is, but I do it in all the languages that I that I think I can speak a little. Sam de Royce is celebrating 2 months of membership, and he writes, "My wife disagrees, but worth every penny." You mean your wife disagrees with the membership? Mate, keep the wife happy. If she doesn't want you to be a member, then by all means cancel the membership, mate. What's the expression again? A happy wife is a happy life? Either way, congratulations, Sam, and thank you so much for your support thus far. I hope that your experience in the lounge has been to your liking. If not, let me know. Transavia 737 arriving from what's that? Tuscany? Tromsø. Okay, not exactly in the vicinity. Right, the next airplane is one that I've been looking forward to because it means we can finally use a sound effect that I often use in a proper context, because next up is KLM Flight 755 arriving from Guayaquil, and that is a port city in a country called I said it's called You're goddamn right. KLM Flight 755 arrived from Guayaquil in Ecuador. 10 hours and 23 minutes on the way. KLM Asia 777-200. Latin Asia. I don't know. It's Papa Hotel Bravo Quebec Lima BQL. 20 years old already. First flight February 2006. And next after that, a break. It's a break. I think that the next airplane is flying downwind to the left of me, Air France Flight 1640. Boss thought that the stream was stopping. Yeah, that's a joke I might also pull on you guys one day. Go black and repeat something. Stutter a little. K1 passing by here in the foreground with the new AMS Schiphol logo. Saudia Dreamliner flying over Markermeer to the northeast and is expected here probably as third airplane in a couple of minutes from now. We also have Air Icarus flying really close to the sun. It's looking like a twin jet, but from this angle it's hard to see what exactly it is. K1 bird control, slowly continuing to the north. Buddy says as long as you don't mix up names, that could be a problem with Lise. Well, as long as I don't do it in her presence, that's the most important thing. Right, a warm welcome to everybody who has joined. Richard Skyscraper amongst others, and anybody else who is there. JP Kraus, Veronique is also back, Deed Reader, who's tuning in from Tennessee. Welcome to the show, everybody. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy, and I thought we were going to see the A380 here on the Polderbaan, since its estimated time of arrival for a long time was shortly before 1 o'clock. But today, this morning, we already saw that the 11 to 11:40 stint of parallel arrivals began a few minutes earlier, 10 minutes or so. Unfortunately, Maria already let us know that the A380 will be landing on the center runway, has already been designated to the center runway. So unless something unforeseen happens, that's going to be landing a bit further away from us. Still from this angle, as most of you know by now, we are quite capable of seeing it land. And we'll probably be able to hear the reverses if they do get it deployed as well. The wind is blowing from south to north. In other words, the sounds from the center runway will be coming this way. Will be blown this way, more or less. United 777. Artem is saying in reference to the airplane that was doing an Air Icarus so close to the sun that I couldn't see what it was. And Han is wondering if Ecuador nowadays is in West Asia. It seems to be. Or South United States of America. Probably the 52nd state. Careful what you say, boy. Don't entice political discussions in the live chat. Keep those for the community section. That's where you can have at it and say what you want. You can also post pictures there if you have any interesting photos. If you ever visited the cockpit and were allowed to take some pictures, if you have some great spotting photos, or if you have an interesting collection of miniatures, by all means feel free to share them in the community section. You do have to be a subscriber for at least a week, but that's to weed out any potential spammers. Have a look in the community section if you haven't done so already. Quite a few people have already posted stuff there, and sometimes there are some discussions. It's an interesting addition to the website of YouTube, I think. Don't think I always get notifications if anything is posted over there. I now also remember that I also have to look in there myself again. It's been a long time. A crane over there, which is in the Amsterdam port area, which roughly spans from, well, the scale of chimney smoke chimneys is also in the west port area, so I think the port area probably begins behind the farm and the trees over there, extends westward. I think Tata Steel is a bit more, well, somewhere over there. The port area stops somewhere between IJmuiden and Amsterdam. I don't know exactly where the borders are. It's hard to see, but if you look on the map, you can definitely see that that Amsterdam does have a port. It's not nearly as big as Rotterdam or Antwerp, but there is a port to the northwest of the city of Amsterdam, and that crane that I pointed the camera to is definitely somewhere in that area. In the meantime, Air France is landing over here just as I got a notification on my phone, and I was trying to see what it was. Failed to see, and I also failed to follow the Air France A320 properly. Double fail for me. Does that mean one cancels the other and it's a win? I'm not sure. Does that work with failures as well? Double failure is a win? I'd like to think so. Negative times negative is positive, right? Once again I am hearing a siren, and once again I am seeing an ambulance driving on the road behind me. There it is. The next widebody is now number 2. You can see it at the 10 o'clock of the number 1. Number 1 is a Lufthansa flight 2304 arriving from Munich. Eric obviously doesn't live in Amsterdam. He writes that the ego of Amsterdam is bigger than the port. I've lived in Amsterdam as import for 8 years, and in 22 went back to the place I was born in Lisse. I've got friends who also moved to Amsterdam later in life, so no native inhabitants, and those two, them two, I saw change over time. Stuff outside of the ring was already considered to be far away, and why do you even need to go outside of the ring? Not everybody, of course, not everybody, but some of those traits you did become apparent in some. Then again, I think you have something similar going on in all big cities. I know from Wolfgang that people think the same about people in Vienna. And I wouldn't be surprised if the same is happening in all other countries. I know that certain Belgians who don't live in Antwerp think certain things of people who live in Antwerp. So it seems to be something that people in all countries do. Comment on the people who live in the big cities. Right, thank you Han for the mathematics lesson. It's only by multiplication. Well, can I change addition into multiplication and still make it a positive then? Anyway, it's time for 2 consecutive wide-bodies. This is KLM Flight 744, which is a 777-300 arriving from Lima. That's the capital of Peru, and that's a country right next to Ecuador! Oh, now I hear something that sounds heavy coming overhead. Is that the A350? I think it is. I think it's the Finnair A3... New. Yeah, it is the Finnair A350 with the sticker, the Santa Claus sticker. Why does it coincide with the arrival of a 777? Damn you, Murphy, and your law. Indeed, Davy. Het staat in de parking. That's also what Lisa told me. Crate043 says that the Antonov AN124 flew close to my house yesterday, and I have a few photos. Should I post all of them in the community post? I don't know how many you have, but definitely if you have good pictures and you have a few of them, feel free to post them. Antonov 124s are airplanes that we don't see that regularly, so if you have decent quality pictures, by all means feel free to post them. The community section is for you and other subscribers to interact with each other, so if you feel they're good enough, then feel free to share them, mate. The only thing that applies is that you still have to be friendly, like in the live chat of lives as well. That's the only thing. Spamming isn't allowed, yada yada. But feel free to post whatever you feel is worthwhile sharing with others. And I think Antonov 124 pictures are definitely fall in that category. Saudi Flight 215 up next, and that's in the 2024 National Day livery. Have we seen this before? I think we have. Up close? Not sure. Nice variant on their new standard livery. I have to say I like this infinitely better than that bland beige. That is so ubiquitous still. Klaus on YouTube is also back and is celebrating 11 months of membership. One more month! Great to be an AMS Live member. Mate, thank you so much for your kind words and for your ongoing support. 1 month and then you'll be turning green. Greenpeace is going to be celebrating then, as will I. A massive big thanks for the ongoing support, Clouds, and if anything is amiss in the lounge, let me know. If you have any suggestions for improvements, let me know. Hopefully you'll stay around for a long time to come. Hopefully in the lounge as a member, but if not, that's also okay. Nobody has to be a member. It's all facultative and voluntary. All right. Where's the A380? Where is it? It's flying base. And no airplanes to the center runway yet, so those bastards from ATC have not only chosen to have the A380 land on the wrong runway, but it's looking like it's also going to be the first runway, the first airplane to land on the center runway. You bastards! That is so uncool. Jerry wonders what color he is going to change into in 8 weeks. If you mean the badge for becoming a 3-year member, you'll be orange and dark blue. It's a gradient. It's a circular gradient. Let me see. Can I find that page quickly? Show you guys. we will have to go into YouTube Studio. Can I find it? Of course I can show you. For those of you wondering, for now, this is what your badges will look like. This is the badge for 3 years, a diamond for 4 years, and 4 stars for 5 years. So this is what you'll be turning into in a couple of weeks from now, Jerry. Right, in the meantime, a good afternoon to everybody who joined. You're watching AMS Live, my name is Boy, and we are here at the Polderbaan, where unfortunately the A380 is not going to land. The A380 is now on final to the center runway, flying parallel to the A321 Neo from BA, arriving from London Heathrow. Hadi Rolf, goedemiddag. Good to see you, mate. Just in time for the A380. Unfortunately going to the wrong runway. And Crate just posted some pictures in the community section, so I'll have a look later, mate. Antonov AN124. Curious to see what the pictures will look like. Hey Dion, goedemiddag. If you joined us only just now, you probably have missed 4 747s arriving here, 3 of which landed on the Polderbaan. 1 of them went to the center runway, as will the A380, those ATC bastards. I can see the A380 already. Let's zoom into it and follow it. There it is. Emirates Flight 147, arriving from Dubai. There it is. The one getting away from us. Thank you for that, ATC Netherlands. 6 hours and 39 minutes on the way. That's a nominal flight duration. At this stage, flights from Emirates from Dubai usually average around 6.5 hours. Regardless of whether it is a 777-300, a 777 freighter, or the A380. This is the Alpha 6 Echo Delta Whiskey EDW. There you can see it. Flying over the sugar factory near Halfweg, more or less now. That's the 2 circular towers that you see at the on the ground. And as it is getting closer by, it's also going to pass the chimney smoke chimneys, which are in the background. The A380 is 14 years old. First flight was in January 2012. Standard livery still. And Han is celebrating 34 months of membership. I am right behind you at Captain Jerry Donnelly. Indeed you are, Han. Looking forward to the day you guys are going to be the first with a gradient badge. Those first few I created earlier, then I got the hang of making those badges a bit. Gradients, diamonds, stars. I'll have to get creative for the next couple, but those are not going to be needed in a few years, before a few years have passed. Of course, going to the wrong runway, that means
wrong, 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 wrong.
And here in the foreground we had BA land, arriving from London. Right, will we hear reversers being deployed, or will it do an idle reverse landing? I can definitely hear them. Hope you guys are too. think maybe with the dead cat instead of the blimp out, the wind rumble overpowers the sound of the reversers. I was able to hear it here, but it wasn't very loud. We've heard it louder. Well, the whale has landed indeed, Tina, and we saw the Orca going to Bremen overhead to the north. Is there anything wide-bodied coming to the Polderbaan anytime soon, or is it going to be just narrow bodies? There is something over the Gulf of Yorkshire arriving from San Jose. We have a Qatar 777-300 that is turning in for center. Yeah. Well, you guys tell me. Continue filming or wrap up. It's mostly narrow bodies that is going to be arriving here. It's also looking like a big break coming up. Probably a runway inspection. I think probably it's best to just wrap it up and be back again tomorrow, hopefully. Absolutely lovely weather today, and it's also promising to be decent, if not good, in the next few weeks actually. Hopefully that's going to stay the same so that Captain Jerry can come over next week. Captain Jerry says, I'm going to visit my ex-wife in the Wallen. She offered frequent flyer miles by the inch. And that is exactly why we need to have you over here next week. I will make sure that the backup mic is fully loaded, fully charged, so that we can hear your jokes about your ex-wife and the smell of your farts in real life. If you want to, of course, obviously. Jerry, thank you so much for the super chat. You really didn't have to use the super chat to get this information across, but thank you for doing it. Give our regards to your ex-wife when you do visit her next week. Frequent flyer miles by the inch. Well, there you go. On that bombshell, I think it is time to end right now, and I will be back again tomorrow, hopefully, weather permitting. Hopefully, it's not going to be very wet when I'm planning to go out. If not, then I am definitely sure to see you again later in the weekend. For now, it's time to wrap up, and I want to thank you all so much for joining me here today. I had a wonderful time. First time that I didn't need the heated gloves. That bodes well. Pretty soon, no more gloves, no more parkas, no more long trousers, but shorts and t-shirts. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did and you haven't done so already and you want to help this channel reach a wider audience, don't forget to leave a like on your way out. A massive, massive, massive big thanks to all the many generous gifters of memberships. A great many were given, and I hope that everybody who received a gifted membership today will say thank you to the gifter. And don't forget to have fun with the custom emojis. All of you, that goes for all members, new and old. A big thanks to the moderators for keeping the chat friendly and accessible. A big thanks to everybody else who also supported. Many super chats were given as well, and other forms of support as well. Hope to see you again tomorrow, and for now I'm going to say goodbye. Take care, stay warm, stay healthy, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now, guys.